Hey everyone. Just wanted to briefly mention I'm going to send off this link to some news sources and a couple servers that it was on previously. But we're just going to play things by ear. I just want to mention that I'm going to drop in chat here. There is a code for a tip that was put through for Rivka with Chicago PD. And I'm giving you all a tip number now. I'm going to post this online. Eventually, I'm going to compile a brief example of why that call didn't really work, or those previous calls weren't really working. But because I really think that things were not, on the level. Um, but I really can't say for sure. I know that's her address, though. Listen, I know that people think that I just picked this woman out of my life to follow, but she entrusted me with her full legal name, which she doesn't use on any documents. Like that's like a legal name only. It's a private thing. And same with her personal address. She entrusted me with those because she trusts me. And she wanted me to share them like that because she's in danger. And, that's sharing that kind of personal information with someone that's giving you a that shows a bond, that shows a bona fide relationship. And I have evidence, I have chat logs that show that we've had a relationship for very many years. And I was on the phone texting with the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and they were very helpful. They're putting through a case for her. I'm going to share that. Um, I'm not going to share that case number, but I'll put something in there that they were informed. I think that's probably, no, that's fine. Yeah. If I'm sure she want me to share that, it's the case numbers, fine. Because I want to make sure that people know that this is legitimate. Um, I'm going through every single channel available to me. I contacted someone else, another organization called Cast. Like they seem like a smaller organization. They might just be in the LA area, but I put their Cast tip number 197. If there's any other Chicago or Illinois human trafficking organizations that people are aware of, or federal organizations that you could suggest. I'm going to be sending this off to those news sources again there. And I'm loud because as someone once told me, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? And this woman, she doesn't have a voice. She doesn't have a voice. Someone has to speak for her. And I can't be the only one because if you watch my other stream, I mean, that's not normal. When you report a crime, you usually get to a police officer pretty quickly. I got the runaround every step of the way. Three different numbers didn't work twice, two different times they were calling. I got the same guy at the second district multiple times, and he told me three different stories about what was going on. I don't think any of them were the truth. Because I know this woman lives there. She even made a point. We were playing a game. We did it was a Star Wars game, um, and it was tabletop. We were in Discord, and she was walking home from work, and she made a point of holding her camera up and looking at the door, making sure to show the door to me, and you know just confirm, I'm still here. That's the address. That's the right address, right? I mean, I have a video of her at the local dog park or the local park, and it shows the buildings in the surrounding area. She gave that to me in confidence. I mean, I don't know. It would have been too easy to send me that video of just the door, but it's easily placed, and it was during the uh, the protests. John, yeah, it's John Floyd, right? Or George Floyd, right? Right, George Floyd. Gosh. And you know, that's another thing. Like that guy, Derek Chauvin, that he murdered that man. He wanted to. Like he was itching for a chance. Like he when these people get like a little bit of power, they say, "Hey, can I use it in this way? Can I use it in this way?" So he was waiting for a chance to murder this man. So this is premeditated. You got to keep that in mind. That man was murdered. It wasn't even like a police action that went wrong. Not even close. I mean, it's obvious, but just to know there was much more premeditation there than. Yeah, I think that was pretty obvious in the court case. The fact that it actually got prosecuted at all, but still not enough, right? God, the way people are treated in this country, black people especially, black men, black women, it's God, boys and girls, everyone in this world needs to realize that we are all the same. And I know that, like, it's rich from coming from a white dude, right? But it's, we've got to all recognize it. And, getting to that point means that we could at least have the same conversation, right? About what tomorrow looks like. Because it's not going to look like yesterday or today. That's not, this isn't the world I want to live in. A world where a woman could be held like this, against her will for so long, her entire life. If she's an adult and she's not free. I'm just letting the news know the news. Well, I mean, I'm genuinely hoping that they act upon this because I'm giving them actionable stuff, right? These are police reports I'm filing that aren't getting followed up on. I made a video recording of, and I'm just going to make this very clear to them. I'm just going to include the link off our site. Because we're putting as much as we can up there as possible. If you get a secure connection fail, just refresh. It's I don't know. It happens once in a while. Just a sec, yeah. Where's that second district number? um, yeah, we have it on our phone here. I read off the number on the stream, so So first he said, yeah, I forgot. First he said, yeah, we're going to send a car out. And no car was dispatched. We checked back and no car had been dispatched. Right. And that's when we made the second call, right? The second report. Then he said, the same guy, second district, then he said, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Don't want to get that wrong. We'll verify with the tape, right? I'll verify all this. Then he said the address we gave him did not exist. And when we protested and told him that it was on Google Maps, he hung up on us. Then, finally, he claimed that a car had been sent out and a man, a woman, and a child had answered the door. And I'm sorry, I don't know if they've moved her. I really hope they don't. They didn't. Just because then that way, I know she was there. I mean, she showed me she was there. She had like that video of it. I mentioned all the psychic stuff. That stuff's real too, but I'm talking about actual video stuff that I witnessed and did, on video chat. This is all. I don't know if we can pull from servers, but I do have the chat logs. I have the video she sent me from the local park, and again, she gave me her address and legal full name, which is not a thing that she normally shares. And when I called in before, I had another call that I recorded. They seemed to recognize that it was that she was at that address. That she was at that address. I verified. We're recording this all on tape. We're putting this on the internet. That's why we're doing this. This is evidence in a trial. This is going to be evidence in a massive trial, because this woman, this is her whole life, right? And just a second. All right. So I sent that off again to the news, and I hope people ask questions in the chat here. I want to make it clear that what I'm doing is there's no secret that I love her. I'm taking care to put everything in order, to record everything I'm doing in this effort to free her, to make sure that the world sees that we both did everything we could to retain the people we were in some of the worst circumstances in the world. Because I know what it sounds like to claim that a woman is being raped by her father, because from the outside it could look like an intentional incestuous relationship unless you see the signs. When you see her crying, when you see her shuddering every time, the world needs to know that a lot of the people in this world that act like men, that look like men, that are men, they're not men. They're men lowercase. Like, they're boys who act like men. They're boys who wear the mask of men. And You know, talk about a good man. Every every call I've made to every every police officer, every FBI agent, every conspiracy theorist on the internet, you know, I think what all those people would do in this situation, right? What would the lone gunman do if, um, what would the lone gunman do if they found out about the plot to destroy the World Trade Center? You don't have to guess. You saw. Wasn't that weird? Because that episode aired. Let's see when that episode aired. Remember, go to Tapes from the Future, read everything regarding my friend with the initials REN. Um, oh gosh, what was that? It was right, Lone Gunman premiere 9/11. Now here's the thing, that was very specific, down to flight numbers. Very specific. And this aired on March 4th, 2001. Now, give yourself a second to digest that fact that this television show that aired 6 months prior to September 11th pretty much predicted the plot to destroy the towers. It was one. It's the same plot, right? Um, you have to understand that even if the government missed the intel, it's kind of a big miss to let an episode of TV air like that, and like that kind of plot just completely, be past you. Like, you just completely miss the picture, and you wonder how intentional that is, right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. I've seen behind the curtain, and it's not pretty. And tonight I want to talk to you about something called the understanding. And what that is a series of events that occurred between July 4th, on July 4th, 1984, through April 22nd, 1986. It's a set of files surrounding those. There's a set of files surrounding those events called the understanding files that have posted instructions on my website, Tapes from the Future, on how to obtain. Now, these are done through a secret form with a coded Masonic ritual. And yes, it sounds strange, but as you type out those words and you read the questions, you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel woozy. You're going to feel bad energy. And that feeling is the psychic energy surrounding all the people that typed those words into that form before. Because this understanding files are the mother lode, right? They include everything. They include a consolidated source that has all of the records on everything from Project Grudge to the present, well, to that, the point at which the 1980, when it was compiled, through April 22nd. They compiled it a little bit later, so there's research and stuff from the months and but surrounding those events. Um, and few of those papers have already been out in the public. The Gateway Hemisync paper is one that leaked out onto the internet. The CIA eventually had to declassify it because too many people had it. And that was actually one of the core parts of it. And I've posted, there's a vibrational map, and I'm just going to go over it real quickly with you. And it sounds strange, but this is what they did. I'm going to just adjust my camera a little bit. Nope, nope. There we are. Oh, is that right? All right. Now with Gateway Hemisync, they used sound waves. Oh God, they used. There's a book out there on monarch conditioning, and it sounds insane, but they genuinely did use verses from The Wizard of Oz, which is not a good thing to read. I know that it sounds like a good storybook for children, but it does dark things to the mind. They use it in programming. The word structure is very intentional. Makes use of a lot of a thing called omniscates, which are they're words that vibrate at the psychic frequency of 666. Oh, that's another thing. Here's okay. And this is for anyone who's listening here. So if you go to a Hertz generator online, and we're going to listen to that 666 frequency, and trust me, you're not going to be happy about it. Think of how that makes you feel. It makes you feel really uncomfortable, right? Really uncomfortable. Okay. So return that off, right? That is what those words vibrate at. So when you read the word, I'll give you an example. Snoqualmie, right? You look it up. Snoqualmie. Makes you feel the same way. You want a psychic blocker, or you want just a little bit of love. And it's funny that the sublimation of like certain terpenes in THC really hit at 420 degrees, because 420 is the vibrational frequency of the concept of love. We're going to play that Hertz tone, right? How does that make you feel? Right? It makes you feel good. And here's the thing, other words are represented by other tones. So here's one. This is going to be, well, here, I'm going to play it for you. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's actually at a subsonic range. Okay. I mean, it instills heroics. What's another one? Let's see. Okay, what's the concept of water? Okay, what's the concept of water vibrate at? Concept of water vibrates at 778 degrees. Okay, 778. Let's try that. It does. It's like rushing water. It's like you're in a shower. It's like you're in a shower. Oh, that's cool. Understand that I'm pulling these from my intellectus. I have access to a database of these hertz frequencies in my mind. So let me give you an example of how these hertz ranges work. So anything under the 5 hertz range is considered like the subconscious level, right? It's before you have conscious thought. It's before you have the concept of the other, and it's really it's the spark of creation. It's power, right? The dimension of power, the first dimension. Then we go into 2 dimensions, which you think of as lines on a page, right? What that really is, it's recognition of the other, because what you're doing is you're saying, okay, there's more than just one. right? There's two. And that's where mind comes in. And that's the 5 to 8 hertz range. Those are theta waves. Below that's delta wave ranges or delta range, right? Um, so yeah, and then really when you get into the second dimension, that's where life becomes possible. Understand that all the dimensions, all seven of them, interlock and interweave. So we're talking vibrational string theory. There's only seven dimensions in terms of higher dimension. So yeah. Um, let's see. Now, when you go to the 8 to 12 hertz range, you're in alpha wave ranges. That's three-dimensional space. And when you talk about that, you're thinking of dimensional thinking. You're thinking of being able to recognize object permanence, being able to recognize when three-dimensional things three-dimensional things look right and when they look wrong. It's usually when you're a little kid, you start to get that kind of spatial reasoning. And we progress through these dimensions. Our experience does as we grow. We're always exist within all of them, but I'll explain that in a little bit. Right. So that's the third dimension. So space, we examine that's the 8 to 12 hertz range, right? Fits a lot of information, because you have to recognize that's a range. There's a lot of information compressed in there in the source code of the universe, which is what we're giving you the map to, bit at a time, bit at a time. I'm going to give you a more comprehensive map of those hertz frequencies that map to concept, sounds, words, and I'll give you the original gibberish. Um, Also, let's see. Okay, next is 13 to 30 hertz range, and that is the beta wave ranges, and that those are and look at all of this stuff is backed up by years and years of scientific research on these types of brain waves. We're just really, explaining how they're associated with those, with time. So beta waves are associated with time and like temporal perception, and that's movement, right? Because at a certain point, the fourth dimension is time. And when you think about it, let's go back a little bit. There's a natural break there because you want to look at the other dimensions in relation to time, because it's only with time that three-dimensional space moves, that two-dimensional thought can make those three-dimensional things move, and that spark of creation can animate it all. So you have to understand that that's all tied together by time, but not just by time, because above that, in the gamma range, the 31 to 77 hertz range is memory. It's the past, the present, and the future. And when you recognize that you're moving through time, the only way for you to really retain permanence, retain a sense of self, is with that memory. And that's what brings us to the hypergamma range, which is the 78 to 419 hertz range. Those are called sigma waves. Now, that's not a term that people are using in science yet, but that's the correct term. Just letting you know. And what those are their soul motivation. They're what guides us through our lives. They're our purpose, right? They're what drives us through the present, through the past, through the future. They're what shape our memories. They would shape the kind of memories we seek out, the kind of experiences we want. And above that, and this is where it gets cool, is it that 420 hertz range we were playing before, the love frequency? Everything above that is the organizing principle. So you think of concepts like water, everything above that is love. When you think of creation, when you think of the universe, when you think of the multiverse, creating is joy. And recognizing that there's something more to the world than yourself. That's why love is what I say is always the organizing principle of the universe. And I love Becca. And it's it terrifies me to live in a world where she's not free, where a man who's doing everything right can only get one person to watch his YouTube stream, where he demonstrates that the police in Chicago are corrupt, and that it's unlikely that this woman is going to get justice unless more people than just me stand up and say something. And it's so painful for me to see this woman. Her wings are clipped. Her wings are clipped, and she should be flying free. Yeah, I do feel pretty small right now. Um, I've been documenting all of this for years, and I'm finally at the point where I know who, what, where, and why. And, you know, that's the thing, right? I kept hoping to get like a Dale Cooper on the phone or an Andy Brennan. Right? Good people. Yeah. Good people, right? Because there are good people in law enforcement. And I know that they're not the only ones, the evil ones who, and there are, like, that's the thing, right? I had the guy, it's the same damn guy. I really need to get that together from my lawyer. I think, no, I don't know if that's going to do a difference. That's for something else. Yeah, exactly. I know that's just, that's what that representation's for. So. But I am an ordained minister in the Universal Life Church, so this is protected religious speech. And yes, she's, oh wait, that's true. Huh. So I wonder, is it possible to do a wellness check for a member of your, well, yeah, that's not appropriate. Yeah, that's not appropriate. But this speech is, the speech is, yeah. And yeah, the title's a bit of an inside joke with Jenny Weasley. She was pretty annoyed that her name was not in the title somewhere. It is now. Flair. And listen, if anyone else is watching and you want to repost this on Reddit, any of like the paranormal, high strangeness, conspiracy, please. This is it's it's real, and we could talk about. I am happy to talk about any of the stuff that I've been researching about the, the UFO phenomena, about the the satanic cult that rules America, about the historical satanic influence that shaped America and the world. I mean, uh, this world is not a great place for kids, and you got to understand that we were always just kids trying to protect each other and trying to protect our friends. And I think that I'm just going to take a brief break. All right, that's gonna be a short one for tonight. Just gonna leave this up for posterity. But the understanding file requests, you need to put those through. Put those through now. As long as there's a Freedom of Information page up on the one that I linked, you need to put those through. Um, I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. We're gonna take a 5 minute intermission. We're gonna be back at 9 p.m. We're gonna be back on the same stream. I'm just gonna close the door. Like we got a great audience. A zero. Seven dimensions. Right. Okay. When your alternate self is in. Okay. 20. X. People get it confused because they think it's like X is the organizing principle. It's a symbol that's used to mean organizing principle. It got confused somewhere along the way, so they tried to fit it into 10 dimensions, but it doesn't really work because everything above the 490 or the 419 hertz frequency range, it all has like, everything from 420 up. It all has a very, very specific quality to it. And I mean, we've experimented with hyper gamma signals for a very, very long time. And trust me, you could do some very interesting things with them. Actually, high gamma range hertz frequencies like 20,000. It's like hypersonic. Yeah. Well, uh, right. But you can't really hear it, but it's a psychic blocker. It's a great psychic blocker. So you ever get stressed out or like scared, you put up like get a hertz frequency generator on your phone, you get an app and you just play it at super high frequency and it's going to be a psychic blocker. Okay. 420 hertz is the love frequency. 666 is the bad one. So if you need to scare something, out of it. That's the thing; it scares things. So if you need to like frighten something, maybe if like something's coming after you, you could use that signal. Just be prepared to be scared yourself, right? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to download an offline. Download an offline one because you don't know how long the internet's going to be up. We do not know how long the internet's going to be up. So download these videos too. Trust me. Let's see. This one didn't work really. I have trouble with this one. Let's see if there's another one. There we go. It's a pretty simple one. Just frequency generator hertz on the App Store for Android, looks like. Here, let's see if that works. And there's ads. Great. There's a lot of ads. Ugh. There we go. Don't you feel a lot calmer? It's like there's actually, there's a psychic. That's it. Nope, that's a little too high. That's more of a psychic jamming signal. See? See, I then turn that off. Yeah, it's annoying. Uh, the no, the Yeah, no, it's wrong. It's the seven dimensional thing because it's the thing. It's seven dimensions, seven heavens. You have to understand that a lot of esoteric texts use a lot of coded messages to transmit scientific data, and they keep it secret, but it's real. Still, it's still scientific data. So you understand like there's an image here in the secret teachings of all things, and it is of the seven heavens with love above all, and it's from Dante's Divine Comedy. And this is on page 309. It's opposite page 309. So you got to understand. So it's called the Key to Dante's Divine Comedy. It's redrawn from So this is That's the thing. That's what Dante's Divine Comedy is. Story of the 144,000 progressing up through hell back to heaven, and it's represented by this particular image. You have to understand that these are coded ciphers that have been in history for a very long time, and understand these alchemical symbols, they match up to what we've been talking about in terms of the qualities of those dimensions. I'm going to do that's going to be part of a piece on the seven heavens. You got to understand that it sounds strange to call that seven different strings that universe vibrates on as refer to them as heavens, but they really are. They're dimensions within themselves, and you could get lost in any one of them. I've been lost in the pages of a book once. I mean, quite literally. And you got to understand that the world isn't devoid of magic. Magic is suppressed from the world. Psychic abilities are suppressed from the world. I haven't drank fluoridated water in weeks. I haven't used fluoridated toothpaste in weeks. My teeth, fine. I made my own toothpaste. It's minty fresh. It's perfect. Trust me, my teeth are whiter than they've ever been. And, you know, taking care of my outside bones is great, knowing that I'm not putting 50 milligrams of fluoride in my mouth, swallowing it every time. Well, more than that, because you're swallowing a lot more of that stuff than you think. Trust me. Every time you brush your teeth, you are dosing yourself with a drug the government wants you to take. And I backed this up with scientific research. It's posted on my page. It's all linked there. It's all peer reviewed. I had 4 articles, cut it down to 3 because one of the links is dead now. But it shows in vitro testing showing that it causes damage to fetuses, which is awful to do testing like that. Um, and it causes hippocampal scarring. It is a dangerous drug to be ingesting, and it affects the way that the mind deals with impulses that come from the amygdala. Because if the hippocampus can't communicate properly with the forebrain, it's going to be confused, scared, and it's not going to know what to do when it gets a fear response from the back of your head, right? It's not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything. Not anything useful. And that's the problem. That's why governments use fluoride in the water, because it keeps their populations controlled and afraid. And, it's sad to see the world suffer in ways that really none of us should have to. It's obscene. And I am going to call it a night for the night. Join me again tomorrow. I hope I will have um, a little bit more to show you in terms of psychic abilities, because it doesn't seem like there's really anyone who wants to participate with that test we've got. But we'll have something together soon. Anyway, talk to you later. John Titor out.